What is your name, please?
My name is George W. Walker. I'm Vice President of the Ford Motor Company.
What is your name, please?
My name is George W. Walker. I'm Vice President of General Motors.
What is your name, please?
My name is George W. Walker. I am Vice President of the Chrysler Corporation.
Two of these people are imposters. Only one is the real George W. Walker and is the only one sworn to tell the truth. Now, here is our host, Bud Collier.
Thank you very much. Good evening and welcome once again to Tell the Truth, brought to you this week by Rise Instant Lather, the inventor of aerated shaving. For smoothest shaves in half the time, get Rise, America's fastest-selling shave cream. Now may I introduce our panel. First, Miss Polly Bergen. Next, Mr. Gordon MacRae. Then Miss Kitty Carlisle. And finally, Mr. Robert Q. Lewis. Gordon, may I say on my own behalf and from all of us that it's nice to have an old friend with us tonight?
Thank you very much, Bud. It certainly is nice to be here.
Good. All right, let's, having had the names read to you, let's follow along, if you will, please, with your copies of this first affidavit as I read from the original. I, George W. Walker, a former fashion illustrator and industrial designer, am now Vice President and Director of Styling for one of the nation's big three automobile manufacturers. As I have done for the past 5 years, I personally supervise the styling of our entire 1960 line of automobiles, including the new economy car now being produced by my company. Signed, George W. Walker. Panel, you have here three stalwart gentlemen. You heard them each claim to be George W. Walker, automobile designer. Are you ready to play our game, gentlemen? All right, let's start this first round of questioning with Polly Bergen. Polly?
Thank you, Bud. I'm sorry, but which one of you fellows is from General Motors?
I am.
Number two. Number two, aren't you the people with the engine in the rear?
Corvair. It's car.
Is that good?
Very good.
It is. Why?
Excellent. It eliminates that hump that you've been complaining about for years, probably, in the front of the car.
And it puts the hump in the back of the car.
back. No hump, no money.
What?
The hump is in the trunk where the engine is. There's no more hump necessary.
Oh, I
The hump
see.
was your transmission that motivated the power from the engine to the rear wheel.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir. Which one of you fellows makes the car that has the top that you push a button and it unscrews itself and it goes back and the thing opens and it goes in and the top goes down and then when you push a button, it comes up and it hits the thing and screws it.
Gentlemen, would you like the question repeated?
Oh, now they know which one that is.
Ford
No,
Motor Company, I think, does that.
Is that you, sir, number one?
Yes, ma'am.
Which car is that, sir?
That's Ford.
I see. Could you tell me, the new Ford, if you look at it from the side, do the fenders and the hood sort of square down or do they slope?
It slopes a bit.
Gordon MacRae.
Sir, number 3. It says here that you are George Walker, former fashion illustrator and designer, and you are now Vice President and Director of one of the nation's big three automobiles. And it says here that you're number 3, a VP of Chrysler Motor Car Company.
That's correct.
In 1956, what was the Chrysler slogan?
The Chrysler advertising slogan in 1956?
Yes.
I wouldn't recall what the advertising slogan was. My job is in the styling, and the advertising takes care of that part of it.
I see. Do you recall the name, say you're with Chrysler Motor Car Company, do you recall the name of a young man who was an MC on a show that represented Chrysler? I believe it was called Climax.
Bud Collier.
Bud Collier. Number 2.
Kitty.
Number one, which of you fellas has a push button?
I think we all do.
You mean personally?
You're talking about
Number 1.
Well, excuse me, which one of you has the push button?
You're talking about the push-button shift in our cars in the Chrysler.
What does the top button do?
The top button.
Well, aside, the first button.
The first button is neutral.
The first button is neutral.
Yes, that's
Number
right.
one, you're from the Ford Company. Where is Hamtramck?
Well, it's in the outskirts of Detroit.
Number two is the governor of Michigan.
Williams?
Robert Q. Lloyd.
All right. Number one, what does a man look for in a car besides a girl?
That's a good question. Usually, the man leans a little bit more functional. Well, of course, he is getting used to beauty that he never used to have before, but now it's function mostly.
All right, may I pursue that, number one? Number one, research shows that one sex is responsible for the sale of more cars than the other sex. Which sex, if you'll pardon the use of the word?
Well, I should think that it's getting more and more to the feminine sex.
Do you have any figures to prove that?
No, but the ladies have. That's it. It's time to vote now. Without consultation, panel, will you kindly mark your ballots? And in so doing, you will, as usual, select number one, number two, or number three. Team of challenges, of course, will receive $250 for every incorrect vote. Okay, panel, everybody voted? Polly, you ready? Who's your choice?
I voted for number one because I think he has the forward look.
Okay, Gordon, your vote.
Well, I voted for number one, too, Bud. More or less pure deduction because I didn't have a chance to question number two, but number three said you were the MC of the Climax show, and that was an old friend of mine named Bill London.
That's right.
I had to forget one.
Wait, I didn't deadpan that one too well. That startled me a bit. Kitty?
I voted for number one. I thought you looked startled. You certainly didn't look like you were taking bows. And number one did know where Hamtramck was, and I'm not sure that that's well known.
No, number one.
Number one.
I say number one did know, so I voted for him.
All righty. Bob?
You're all going to hate me because I've won the game.
Oh.
I voted for number two for a lot of reasons, but most of all, I think he's most unlikely in appearance.
All right, there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. The votes are in. The minds are made up, at least for the moment. And we'll find out right now which one of these three gentlemen is the real automobile designer. So will the real George W. Walker please stand up? Adam, you did real well on that. You made Bob a little sad, but you did real well. Now that we found out that Mr. George W. Walker is vice president of the Ford Motor Company, let's determine about number two. What is your real name and what do you do, sir?
My name is Charles G. Griebel. I'm with the Hercules Company, a ship maintenance firm in Baltimore and in New York.
Thank you, sir. And number three, your real name and what you do, sir, please.
My real name is David Kettner, and I am vice president of Playtex, the world's largest maker of girdles and bras.
And he's a living doll. All right. Yes, Bob?
I wouldn't dare ask number three, but number two, where are your engines, in the front or the rear?
Midship. All right, and checking up on our score, we find there was only one incorrect vote at $250. And on your way out, gentlemen, you will find that there is a year's supply of rides and lather for each of you. Hope you had fun being with us. We enjoyed having you here. Good night and good luck to you.
Good night.
Mr. George W. Walker would like to donate his share of the winnings to Detroit's United Fund campaign. Now, panel, let's meet our next team of challengers.
What is your name, please?
My name is Robyn Lloyd.
What is your name, please?
My name is Robyn Lloyd.
What is your name, please?
My name is Robyn Lloyd.
Once again, panel, will you change your looks of bewilderment to those of interest and follow along with your copies of this affidavit? I, Robyn Lloyd, am a bullfighter. I was born in England, which makes me, as far as I know, the only British bullfighter in the business. Although I plan to go to Spain in the near future, all my fighting so far has been confined to Mexico. In the 2 years since I started, I have fought and killed 25 bulls. Signed, Robyn Lloyd. This time, three charming individuals, all claiming to be Robyn Lloyd, bullfighter. Are you all set? Okay, let's start this cross-examination proceedings with Robert Q. Lewis. Bob?
Boy, they're just the two of you, not you. I wouldn't mind being a bull. Number one, would you name, please, another American girl who is an American, who is a famous bullfighter?
Miss Betty Ford?
I know. You say Ford, and number two says General Motors. Number two, says here you killed 25 bulls. Is that right?
That's correct.
Aren't you sorry?
No.
Number three, when you kill a bull, you receive a trophy. Those trophies take the shape of ears or tails. Is there any other form of trophy?
Well, they did away with the hoof. A long time ago, they would give a hoof, but now they don't. It's only 2 ears and a tail at the most you can
Number
get.
one, what is a guajara in a bull ring?
A guajara?
That's right.
It's a large cape.
Polly?
Number two, what country fights the bulls from horseback?
Portugal.
Number three, what country still doesn't allow you to kill the bull?
Portugal.
Number one, what's a veronica?
Veronica is a pass used.
Number two...
It's like an Annie Oakley.
Oh, I see. Thanks a lot. Number two, what is the moment of truth?
That's the actual moment in the bullfight when the bull is killed.
Number three, who was Arusa?
Carlos Arusa is probably Mexico's foremost bullfighter.
Gordon?
Number three, you say you fought mostly in Mexico. How far away is the city of Nogales in Mexico away from the city of Nogales, Arizona?
Oh, many kilometers.
Number
Nogales.
two, in England, you say you were born in England, British. What does it mean when in England they say he or she was born within the sound of the Bow Bells?
Or somebody was born in the East End of London near the bells on the church.
I see. Number one, what is the name of the best breed of bulls in Mexico?
In Mexico, there are 14 good breeds of bulls. You may be referring to the Nura bull, which is Spanish.
Thank you. Number two.
Kitty?
Number one, what is a quadrilla?
A quadrilla is the parade before we begin the corrida. Or
Number two, what is a quadrilla?
It's the group of men that assist the matador.
Number two, is there a union for bullfighters?
Yes, there is.
What does it do for you?
It pays the hospital expenses.
How marvelous. Number three, you were born in England,
I was born in Wales.
but you were not
Cardigan.
raised there.
Well, only until the age of 9.
I see. Number one, who is Dominguez's brother-in-law?
Ordonez.
Ordonez?
That's it. Once again, it's time to vote. No consultation. If you will please mark your ballots and select number one, number two, or number three. Everybody marked already?
Wait a minute.
All right, that's unusual. All set, Polly? For whom did you vote?
Well, I don't know whether there's any such bells as the bells that Gordon was referring to when he discussed bells with number two, but he answered that he knew where the bells were, so I voted for him.
All
there
right,
any such
Gordon.
bells?
Your vote, please.
Well, I voted for number two also, Bud, and Polly's bells. My wife, Sheila, happens to be born in Britain, and that's a sign of a cockney. And the other deduction I made was I asked number three where Nogales, Arizona was, and Nogales, Arizona and Nogales, Mexico are within a half a mile of each other.
Oh,
Kitty?
I was going to say I thought it was number three, but I voted for number two. Because number two knew what the quadrilla was, and I didn't ask number three, so I voted for number two.
All right, that's two right down the line.
Leaves
now
you again.
To, Robert Q.
You got number three.
I stand on my record. No, I know that it's not number one because I never heard of a guajara before.
Oh.
And she told me it was a cape or something, so I vote for number three. I don't know.
All right.
I really think it's number three.
Got our votes in now is our moment of truth as we discover which one of these three people is the real British bullfighter. So will the real Robyn Lloyd please stand up? Oh, all right. Thank you, sir. Number one, would you tell us your real name and what you do, please?
My name is Peggy Chichester, and I'm a receptionist at IBM in New York.
And number three, may we have the same information about you, your real name and what you do?
Well, my professional name is Gabby Monet, and I'm married to Coleman Jacoby, who's one of the writers on the Gary Moore Show.
Well, we thank you very much again, panel. You did extremely well. There was only one incorrect vote at $250, which I'm sorry to say, for your sake, is what you get. But commendations are certainly in order to the panel. On your way out, you will find there is a gift package of all of Carter's fine products. Thanks so much for being with us. Good night and good luck to you. Robyn Lloyd, incidentally, is a man of many facets. I have a note on him here that he is also musical director of the Keigo Imperial Dancers, currently at the Ankara in Pittsburgh. Quite a talented gentleman. Now, panel, let's meet our third team of challengers.
What is your name, please?
My name is Joseph E. Vaughn.
What is your name, please?
My name is Joseph E. Vaughn.
What is your name, please?
My name is Joseph E. Vaughn.
Again, panel, follow along, if you will, with your copies of this affidavit. I, Joseph E. Vaughn, am the manager of the largest office building in the world. It covers 34 acres. The Empire State Building and the ocean liner Queen Elizabeth could be laid side by side within its walls with room to spare. I supervise a maintenance staff of 900 people who wash more than 7,000 windows, clean 17 miles of corridors, care for over 500 acres of grounds, and man the largest private telephone system in the world. I am the manager of the Pentagon building in Washington, D.C. Signed, Joseph E. Vaughn. Three gentlemen again this time, all claiming now to be Joseph E. Vaughn, manager of the Pentagon. As soon as you're set, gentlemen, we'll begin our first round of questioning on this round with Gordon MacRae. Gordon, please.
Number one, what is the main thoroughfare in the city of Washington, D.C.?
I'm sorry.
What is the main thoroughfare in the city of Washington?
That could be Pennsylvania Avenue.
Number two, what is the street address of Blair House?
That's 14th Street and K.
Number three, is the Pentagon in Washington, D.C., Maryland, or Virginia?
It's in Virginia.
Number one, does Pennsylvania Avenue run north, south, east, or west?
North and south.
North and south. Number two, what direction does the Jefferson Memorial stand? Does it face south? Excuse me.
So,
It stands. I guess it's still standing.
north.
North. Number three, Kitty?
Number one, there have been many jokes about it, but do people really get lost in the Pentagon?
Very much.
They do?
Yes.
And what happens when they get lost?
Well, the best thing to do is to go to the nearest office and arrange for a guide, to call up for a guide, and then they'll take them back to where they're supposed to go.
Ah, does the guide come with a little barrel of brandy around his neck?
Not quite.
K-ration.
Number two, you had a fire in the Pentagon recently. Where did it start?
It started on the first floor in the, we call it the IBM tabulating room, where they have the IBM machines.
Number three, what was lost in the fire?
Principally the IBM machines, plus some damage to the structure itself.
Bob?
All right, fellas, look, I'm not a sore loser. Just between us, which one of you? You know, I'm a little bit confused here. It says the Empire State Building and the ocean liner Queen Elizabeth could be laid side by side within its walls with room to... How did you do that? Number two. All right, I have a question for number three. Who, please, is the manager of the Rooftop Terrace restaurant at the Pentagon? Number one.
I haven't.
Number two.
There is no such thing. You mislead everybody. everybody
How many?
all the time.
Number one. How many officers have definite offices in the Pentagon?
Oh, Lord, that'd be difficult to answer because there's so many changes.
I see. Number two.
You're asking me how many
officers
have definite
specific offices in the Pentagon?
Well, you have to estimate that. There's several hundred.
Are they all on our side?
Polly Bergen, please.
Except for a few that got lost before the last war. Haven't found their way out yet. Number 3, who is the highest-ranking military man in the Pentagon?
That probably would be General Twining.
Number 1, it says here that you wash like, 7,000 windows or something. I always get streaks in mine. What do you use?
Well, we use a detergent.
Just any old
commercial
thing that
detergent.
comes up. Number 2, how do you get messages around in the Pentagon? I mean, how do the messengers, they have to walk all those miles?
Well, there's several ways. There's one, we have some on bicycles, so little tricycles.
In the building?
Yes, and then we have also the tubes that carry with the compression.
Oh, I see.
And then they are the pigeons, of course, too.
Yes.
Okay, that's it. Time to vote once again, panel. Will you kindly mark your ballots as you did before? Voting for in your selection, number 1, number 2, or number 3. Polly's musing this time. Everybody else mark?
It's a tough one this time for me. I don't know too much. I would have sworn that it was number...
Well, hurry up, Polly.
But I don't really...
For whom are you voting, Polly?
Oh, please, but don't. I want so badly to get them all right tonight. I know.
To have a vote,
Wait a
Polly.
minute. Can I just take one last look?
Quick, Polly. Time's running out, Polly.
Oh, I know it's number 1, but I voted for number 3. Because he was very quiet, you know, and we didn't ask him very many questions. We seemed to sort of be... I thought number 1 up there standing. He had sort of a look about him, but I have a hunch about number 3, and I'm probably wrong.
If you're wrong, it's all my fault.
Yes.
Gordon, your vote, please.
Well, I voted for number 3 also.
I thought I'd be the only one.
And Kitty? All right, here we go again.
I voted for number 3 because number 3 has the look of a harried housekeeper.
All right, Robert Q., it's up to you.
Sure. Go say this show is fixed. Go on. I don't know. He just looks like a
Well, what
nice...
about that terrace restaurant? Is there any such thing?
Rooftop.
No.
No.
All right, there it is.
Robert. I think you're right, Robert. I
Votes
think you're the
in,
only
minds
one
up.
right.
Let's go and see how right or wrong we are this time as we learn the identity of the real manager of the Pentagon. Will the real Joseph E. Vaughn please stand up? Thank you, sir, very much. This is a real good evening for the panel.
What panel?
I was going to say a good evening for the panel and a good night for Bob. Yes. Number 1, would you tell us your real name and what you do, please?
My name is Glenn E. Soderholm. I'm the freight traffic manager for the Chicago Great Western Railway here in New York City.
Thank you, sir. And number 2, tell us who you really are and what you do.
My name is William B. Gillette, and I am president owner of Previews Theaters Incorporated, New York City.
Thank you, sir. Well, we check our score, and again we find that there were 3 correct and only 1 incorrect for $250 from Rise, and of course a year's supply of Rise Instant Lather waiting for each of you. Good night, gentlemen, and good luck to you. Well, that's all the time we have for tonight, except, Gordon, thanks for being with us, and lots of luck to you and your beautiful wife, Sheila. You open tonight, I believe, at the Empire Room, the Waldorf?
Yes, we do, Bud.
Well, do a goodie, boy.
Well, thank you.
We'll be down to see
Give it a
you.
good try.
Polly, you'll be back with us next week, of course, and Kitty, you go to Baltimore on your lecture tour, don't you?
What is this? I didn't know that.
Yeah, sure, lecture tour.
I'll be
And
back
Bob, I want to
next week.
thank you for being with us.
He's going away,
I
too.
hope you enjoyed it despite the voting result. And that's right, you're opening November 1st, isn't it, at the Playhouse in Miami. What's the name of the Playhouse?
Once more with feeling. evening at the Coconut Grove
Coconut Grove Playhouse down in Miami.
I may
Good luck
need
to you.
some more feel. Oh, boy.
Okay.
What a night.
Well, and of course, Tom Post will be back with us next week. Tom opens tonight in his new play, Golden Fleecing. Good night, panel.
Good night.
Good night.
This is Bud Collier saying good night from Rise Instant Lather and Arid Cream Deodorant, reminding you to tell the truth. Good night, everybody.
To Tell the Truth is a Mark Goodson and Bill Douglas production in association with the CBS Television Network.